Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we continue with the topic called compound interest. And I am now busy with exercise 2.7. And the intention is to complete all the activities or all the exercises that are under 2.7 or all the questions that are under 2.7. However, I'll do them batch by batch, 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. Or 1 by 1, depending to how each question is structured. And please again go back to the basics of compound interest, some of the concepts that I explained when it comes to compound interest, which I will be applying them in this exercise. 2.7 say that the information below refers to question A to D, and my intention is to do questions from A to D as one batch. Then after I will look at the following question and do that one also. It says that we have an amount of 1,200 that was invested. 1,200 was invested at a certain annual rate of interest. Take note, at a certain annual rate of interest. So the rate of interest is not known. Then after, it is further stated that it was compounded to monthly. Annual rate of interest, but compounded to monthly. We are given the information below regarding the interest that was earned for month 2 for the first period of compound, in other terms. So this is for month 2 information that is provided to us. So let us look at this information for month 2 of the interest that was earned. Now we are given the principal amount, which is the present value in simple terms. We are given the interest, which is the I, the bigger I, when we deal with the simple interest, the bigger I, and also the bigger I when we deal with the compound interest, present value or future value of an annuity. We still acknowledge the bigger I, which is the interest amount, as the bigger I. Then we have the amount after the interest has been taken into account or added, which is called the future value. So now from the detail that we have, we can then now go straight to what we are required to do. We can go to what we are required to do. It says we are to compute the effective rate of interest, which is the annual rate of interest. Remember, the rate that was known was an annual rate that was compounded to monthly. Now we need to calculate this effective rate of interest, which is the annual rate of interest. Please note that in the timeline, we have a timeline that looks like this. We have the present value, and our present value is 1,200. We have the future value, and our future value, it is 1,219 rand. And we have our N. Our N is equal to 2 months. The interest was earned only for a period of 2 months. Our interest is the one that we are looking for. And take note of the fact that this is the effective rate, not the nominal rate, meaning the rate we are looking for, it is the annual rate of interest. So that is what we will be responding to. And this is under exercise 2.7. Exercise 2.7 under number A, we have our plus minus 1,200 present value. This is our PV. We have the future value, and our future value, it is 1,219 rand. Our N is 2 months over 12. Remember, if you say 2 divided by 12, what you get is N in years. Whenever you are given months, the minute you divide months, the months that are given by 12, that means the answer that you get will be in years. So our N is in number of years, in other words. So our N is number of years. That means if our N is in years, then our interest that we are calculating will be in years, or will be per annum. Then we compute our I. I will use my manual calculator, but there is an app calculator that I will use later on to other chapters, which is the present value of an annuity and the future value of an annuity. So we say plus minus 1,200 present value, 1,219 is the future value, 2 divided by 12 is our n, then we say compute interest. Our interest is 9.880475194% per annum. This is our interest rate, which is the effective rate of interest. And take note once again that your n must always be the same as your I. Your n and your I must be in the same period. In other words, if your n is in years, then your interest must also be in years, or your interest will be in years when you are doing the calculation. Now that was the calculation of the effective rate of interest, which is the interest for the year. Then we go to the second requirement. Second requirement say that compute the interest rate, the interest earned by the investment at the end of month 18. There is 18 there that I mistakenly did not note when I was typing. So we are calculating the interest at the end of month 18. Now, if we are to calculate the interest, we cannot just jump by calculating the interest at the end of month 18. Remember, the interest that we calculated previously, I'm talking about the interest rate now, we are required, remember, to calculate the interest amount that has been earned at the end of month 18. That is interest only for one period, meaning interest only for one period of compound, which is from the 16th month to the 18th month, just for more clarity. Now, the interest rate that we calculated previously is the annual rate of interest. It is not the interest that is compounded to monthly. In other words, we first need to calculate the interest rate that is compounded to monthly. So now, hence, under step number 1, we are required to first calculate the nominal rate. Remember, the nominal rate is the rate that is compounded monthly. It is the rate that is compounded 2 monthly. It is the rate that is compounded quarterly. It is the rate that is compounded 4 monthly. It is the rate that is compounded 6 monthly. So now that is the rate that we are calculating, which is the nominal rate of interest. This is not compounded once a year, which is annually, which is the one that we calculated. So we need to calculate the rate that is compounded monthly, because in this case, the amount of 1.2 was invested at a certain rate of interest that is compounded to monthly. So we first need to calculate that rate, which is compounded to monthly. So now let us then calculate that rate, which is the nominal rate of interest. Then after we are done with the calculation of the nominal rate of interest, then we need to calculate the future value at the end of month 16, meaning a period before the 18th month. Because remember, 2 months it will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So the next interest will be earned from the end of month 16 up until the end of month 18, which is 2-month period. So we need to stop at the future value end of month 16. Then after we add interest that is earned for 2 months, which is month 17 and month 18. We are looking for the interest that is for month 17 to month 18. Remember, month 17 to month 18 is one period of interest. Now let us first calculate our effective rate of interest. Sorry, our nominal rate of interest. That is number B, or part of number B. Now we know that plus minus 1,200 is the amount that was invested. Future value has not changed. Our future value is still 1,219 rand. We have our N. Now take note. In terms of our N, we need to say now we have an amount of 1,200 that was invested, and after 2 months the amount earned interest of 19 rand, and you could say that in an answer that our interest is 19 rand, and this interest is earned for how many months? That's the question. The interest is earned at the end of month 2. Remember, 2 months is one period of compound, because after 2 months we add interest. So the question will be, how many times have we earned interest of 19 rand? It's only one period. Or how many compounding period? It was only compounded once, meaning we only earned interest once. Only for the first 2 months of the investment we got 19 rand. So that means our N will be the number of times the interest was earned. I want to take note of that. Our N will be the number of times the interest was earned. And the interest was earned only once, meaning our N will be one compound, which is a period of 2 months. So please take note of that. That one is not in years, is indicating that we only earned interest once, meaning only for the first 2 months, and we got 19 rand. Now this is the number of periods the interest was compounded, which is once. So now that means when we're calculating our interest, we then need to take that into account and say, how many 2 months do we have in a year? How many 2 months do we have in a year? Then after whatever amount that we get, we need to multiply it by the number of times we have in a year, which is the number of 2 months we have in a year, which is 6 times. So now when you compute interest, we say compute I multiplied by 6 times by the number of times the interest was earned. Now why do we multiply by 6? Remember, our N is 1. So now the interest that we get will be the interest per 2 months, or the interest per 2 months. So the question is, how many 2 months do we have in a year? We have 6 2 months in a year. So when we multiply this by 12, we want to say how much is our annual rate of interest that is compounded monthly. So it will be interest for the full year but compounded monthly. So now that is why we say I times by 6. We multiply I by the number of times the interest is compounded in a period of a year, which in this case it is 6 times. Why? Because we are compounding 2 monthly, and there are 6 2 months in a year. So now let us then do the calculation, and again I'll be using my manual calculator. It will say plus minus 1,200. We press present value 1,219 rand, press future value 1, you press N, then you say comp or compute, then you press I. Then the answer that you'll get will be 1.58333333%. Now this is per 2 months. I want to highlight this, per 2 months. So this is for the first 2 months. This is per 2 months, meaning, remember, this per 2 months is that one, because we only compounded once. So the interest of 19 rand that we earned for that 2 months, it was 1.5833%. That's what we earned. But we don't want it per 2 months. We want it for the whole year, meaning we want it for the number of 2 months that we have in a year. And how many 2 months do we have in a year? There are 6 2 months in a year. That is why now in the answer that we got, we need to say times by 6. Remember, you don't have to show this. In your answer, you can just say immediately multiply by 6, then you'll get the final answer of the interest. So we say times by 6, then it will give us 9.5% per annum compounded monthly. Now we know that this interest is per annum, but it is compounded monthly. And we know that per period of a compound, meaning per 2 months, this is the interest we are earning for every 2 months. But when we add it for the number of 2 months in a year, we realize that we are getting 9.5% per annum. But it is compounded every month. Every 2 months. Now, this is what we call the nominal rate of interest. This is the nominal rate, the one that is compounded to monthly in this case. Nominal rate of interest. Nominal rate of interest. Compounded to monthly. So we have calculated the nominal rate of interest. Then now what do we need to do next is to calculate the future value at the end of month 16, which is a period before month 18. And once again, I told you that we have a period of 2 months. We have 2, we have 4, we have 6, then it goes, we have 16, then we have 18. In other words, we need to get the future value at the end of month 16, the future value at this period. Then after, from this future value, we need to calculate interest from month 16 to month 18. From month 16 to month 18, and I'll just throw something on your mind when we reach here in case if I don't forget. It's also based on the calculation that I did previously regarding the nominal rate of 1.58. Now, let us go further with that. We are now calculating the future value at the end of month 16. Remember, it will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, meaning our n will be 8. So we have plus minus 1,200 rands. We are looking for the future value plus 1,200 rands, the amount that was initially invested. We have our n. Our n is how many times are we going to be earning interest for 16 months? It will be 8 times. So our n will be 8, which is 16 months divided by 2, because there are 8 times in 16. Then I'm not sure if I'm saying that one right. Then we have our interest. Our interest is 9.5%. And we divide this by 6. And I like this one because it goes back to what I said before. The minute we say divide by 6, it gives us the interest per 2 months. Remember, if you remember, I said that this is per 2 months. Meaning every 2 months we are earning interest of 1.58. Every 2 months we are earning interest of 1.58. Or we are calculating interest of 1.58%. But in terms of the actual amount of the interest, it will increase as the number of months goes by, because our previous balance will be greater than the previous balance. I will leave that one also there. Then after, what do? We say compute the future value. Compute the future value. So now, once again, this is exactly what I said I will be highlighting to you. This future value, earning interest up to month 18. It is this interest of 1.58. In other words, if you want here, you can just say 1.58%. But obviously you need 1.58. We don't put the decimal. The calculator knows that is a percentage. You can just say 1.58, and you know that this interest is for 2 months. This one is for the whole year, compounded monthly. When we divide by 6, we get interest for every 2 months. So now if we wanted to verify, I want to go back again to give you more clarity. If we wanted to verify this 19 rand, we could verify this 19 rand by saying 1,200. Because of the decimal, it will not be exactly times by 0. Let me say times by 1.58 divided by 100. 18.96. So if we round off that 18.96, it gives us 19%. That 19th rand, that is where that 19th rand comes from. So obviously, if we take out the decimals, it might be exactly 19th rand. So that is how that 19th rand was manually calculated. Now let's go back to our calculations once again. We are looking for the future value at the end of month 16, meaning future value after 8 compounds of interest have been earned, or after the interest had been compounded 8 times. Then I'll be using my manual calculator once again. Sorry for that. We say plus minus 1200. We press present value. 16 divided by 2, which is 8. We press N. If you want, you can say 8, then you press N. Then after we say 9.5 divided by 6, we press I, then you compute future value. It is good that we don't use the 1.58 because if we use all of it, we need to take all the decimals. Just be mindful of that, but I'm just explaining to you for bigger understanding. Then we get 1,360 rand 69 cents. So now I want to highlight again that this amount 1,360 rand 69 cents, it is the amount here at the end of month 16. 1,360 rand 69 cents. So this amount will earn interest only for one period, from month 16 to month 18, which is for 2 months. Obviously, that interest will be times by 0 times by 1.5833333333%. That will be the interest. Let me count how many 3 do we have there, so that I use my this amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now let us just check if can we get this answer correct by using the 1.58 that is compounded per 2 months, or for every 2 months. We say 1,360 rand 69 cents times by 1.58, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, divide by 100. Let us see. This is the amount of the interest that we are getting. Now I will verify it using another approach. Then our interest is equal to 21 rand 54 cents, which is 1,360.69 times by 1.58, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 percent, meaning divide by 100. Don't forget that. Then this is what we get. So let us verify using the simple interest way of calculating I. Your I will be equal to 8 times by I times by N. So it will be 1,360.69 times by 9.5%. Remember, our interest for the full year, it is times by 0.095 times by, we need it for only 2 months out of the 12 months. So now let us see how much do we get. 1,360.69 times by 0.095 times by 2 months out of the 12 months. We only need it for one period. We get exactly the same 21 rand 54 cents. And now I like to explore questions of this nature in more detail so that you can use any of the methods that will be comfortable to you. With that, guys, I think I made myself very clear on that side. Now we go to question number C, then after we go to question number D. These questions are combined. Now we are told that A further amount of 2,000 was added to the account at the end of month 26. A further amount has been invested or added to the account at the end of month 26. We are required to compute or calculate the amount in the account at the end of month 40. Hint, take the end of the month as focal date. So now we're taking the end of month 40 as focal date. I think that should have been end of month 40 as focal date. Now let us continue on that note. There is an additional investment that was made, and the additional investment was made at the end of month 26, and we need to know the balance at the end of month 40, meaning the 2,000 will be invested over a period of 40 months minus 26 months, meaning that will be 40 minus 26. This will give us 14 months. So now that means the remainder of this amount, which is 2,000, will be invested for a period of 14 months. Remember, in that 14 months, the interest that will be earned every 2 months. So now if it is earned every 2 months, we need to divide by 2, meaning it will be compounded 7 times. So we need to be taking that into account. Now let us go and use our manual calculations whenever there is an additional amount that has been invested. But you can still use the calculator, that will not be a problem. Then we have number C, plus minus, let not use the calculator, it will take time. Let us say we have to use the formula now, which I highlighted in the previous calculations. 1,200 open brackets 1 plus 0.095. Remember, when you use the formula, you need to put the interest in decimal. Divide by the number of times the interest is compounded in a year. The interest is compounded 6 times in a year. Remember, 1,200 will be in the account up until the end of month 40. 1,200, which was initially invested, will be in the account up until the end of month 40. So now, meaning this will be 20 if you want, which is 40 divided by 2. The number of times the interest is compounded will be 20 times. Then after we say plus an amount of 2,000 was invested during the period 1 plus, and this interest or this amount is earning the same interest 0.095% which per annum, which is compounded 2 monthly. So we say to the power of 7. I think you understand where the 7 comes from. 14 divided by 2, and you know where that 14 comes from. It is 40 minus 26. It gave us 14. So the 2,000 will earn interest for a period of 14 months, which is interest will be compounded 7 times. So I can erase others, but please do show the calculations when you answer. And I have shown you the calculation. I'm just hiding them because I don't find them necessary showing. Then after we have to, I'll be using my manual calculator because this one does not have the power. Then after it will be 1,200 open brackets 1 plus 0.095 divided by 6 close brackets. Second function dip. If you see the button that is below PV is written dip, press on that after you set second function, then you say 20, then equals. Then the amount of the balance from the initial investment will be 3,000. It will be 3,000. Just verify, it will be 3,000. 1 plus 0.095. Just checking something there. It will be 1,000. Just press wrong figure. 1,000 642 rand 97 cents plus. Then we go to the second one, we say 2000 rands, 2000 rands that was added, 2000 open brackets 1 plus 0.095 divided by 6 close brackets, second function dip, then to the power of 7, then the answer is 2232 rand 48 cents. Then we add the two figures plus 1642 rand 97 cents. This gives us 3875 rand 45 cents. So now this is the amount that will be in the account at the end of month 40. The amount that will be in the account at the end of month 40, 3,875 rand 45 cents. So that was in the response to question number C. Now, I want to bring this to the formula perspective once again. If you want, you can calculate the future value of the first investment, where you'll have to calculate your N there, and at the same time you can calculate the future value where your N will be there 7. Then you put your interest as usual, then you add the two future values. Then you have to have your plus minus 1200 PV. You have your N, you have your interest as 9.5 divided by 6. Then your N will be 20, which is 40 divided by 2. Then after you have to say compute future value. Then on the other side you'll have your plus minus 2000 rands, which is your present value. Your N will be 7, which is 14 over 2. Then your interest will be 9.5 divided by 6. Then after you'll have to compute the future value. Then you add the two future values. This future value here will be exactly equal to this amount, and this future value here will be exactly equal to this amount. Then you add the two, they'll give you the sum of the two future values. So you can use the calculators in this kind of a scenario. I decided to use the formula. So you can test using the calculator and see if you get the same answers. I will not be doing that. I think I did verify that one in other questions, or I would verify that in other questions in the future. Now we have done requirement number C. Then after we go to requirement number D. Requirement number D says that the investor wants a minimum of 5,000 in the account by the end of month 30. That means the total future value must be 5,000 rands. So now that means this is what the investor wants. Like this is the total of the future value. In other words, the investor says, this is how much I need at the end of month 30. So let us see what are we required to do. What is the least amount that should be deposited at the end of month 18 to obtain his target if the initial deposit is 1,200? So this investor now wants to deposit money at the end of month 18. So we need to say 30 minus 18 and say how much is the X amount that must be invested, or how long must the X amount be invested. So 30 minus 18 is 12. So the X amount that we don't know will be invested for the remaining 12 months, which is divided by 2. In other words, it will earn interest 6 times, or the interest will be compounded 6 times of the amount of money that we don't know, the unknown amount of money. Now in this case, where there is an unknown amount, then we know that definitely there has to be a use of the equation or the formula. So we go to number D, which is the first batch of these questions. we say we know that 1,200 is invested, which is 1 plus 0.095 divided by M. M, remember, is the frequency, which is the number of times the interest is earned, to the power of 15. Remember that 15s come from 30 months divided by 2. How many 2 months do we have in 30 months? We have 15 2 months, which is the frequency. Then after we say plus how much must be invested at the end of month 18, we don't know, that will be X. Then after we say 1 plus 0.095 divided by 6, we close our brackets. How frequently will the X amount of money be invested? It will be invested over a period of how many months? We said 12, it will be 6. 6 times interest will be earned. Then this will be 5,000 rands at the end. Remember that 6, we said 30 minus 18, it gave us 12 months. We divided by 2. So in other words, here we have 12 divided by 2. So that is where the 6 come from, meaning it will be earning interest 6 times, or interest will be compounded 6 times. Then after the first one, we go to our calculator. 1,200, open brackets, 1 plus 0.095 divided by 6, close brackets, to the power of 15. This gives us the interest, or the amount with the interest after 30 months for the first investment is 1,518 rand 86 cents. This is the first interest plus the initial amount invested. Then after we say plus. Now remember, this is unknown. So what do? We first deal with what we know. We deal with what we know and we leave the unknown. We deal with what we know and we leave the unknown so far. So we must deal with that section. So in other words, you say open brackets, 1 plus 0.095 divided by 6, close brackets, to the power of 6 equals. So this gives us 1.098840752x. Now x must be at the end mathematically. Then after we say equals 5,000 rands. We can say that this figure has x in it, so we must keep the like terms on one side. This is the whole number, there's no x. This is the whole number, there's no x. So if that is the case, we are to say 1.098840752x is equal to 5,000. When this crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative. Then you say minus 1,518 rand 86 cents. Then we say 5,000 minus 1,518.86, and this gives us an amount of 3,481 rand 14 cents. Then we still have here 1.098840752x. Now we are not looking for x, we are not looking for 1.09x, we are looking for this unknown x. So we divide by 1.098840752, so that this cancels this. Then we are left with x on this side. Then we'll have our x being equal, whatever you did on the left, you do it on the right. Divide here by 1.098840752. Then after we say 3,481.14 divided by 1.0 988,40752. This gives us an amount that will be invested at the end of month 18 as 3,168 rand 1 cent. 1 cent. So this is the amount that must be invested at the end of month 18 in order for this investor to reach a target of 5,000 at the end of month 30, where the amount is invested at 9.5% per annum compounded to monthly. With that, guys, thank you very much. I have covered number A up to number D. Now I will be going to number E and number F. With that, guys, thank you. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much once again. God be with you.